Hi. Right. Here we are, slightly unprepared, but never mind. I'm going to skip right into it. I don't have my tiny violin. I can see it, but I can't reach it. So if there are any excuses put out by jihadis within the text that I'm about to read you, I'll have to just, do the international sign for I don't care. Okay, then. So let's get involved. What has been going on? Oh, okay then. Right. This is all three of these articles are from International Christian Concern. They are a trusted source of persecution news, and their website is persecution.org. The clue is in the title. Okay, so they have learned that on the 11th of May this month, 2021, it was discovered that Marta Shimoni Church in Turkey's village of Mer was attacked and desecrated by unknown persons. I'm guessing they're not Buddhist, these unknown people. I could be wrong. This is the same village where the elderly parents of a Chaldean Catholic priest were kidnapped last year. The wife, Simone Dirrell, was later found deceased. Her husband, Hormoz Dirrell, remains missing. I actually remember now covering that story at the time. So Marta Shimoni is a cave church built into the mountains and therefore cannot be destroyed in the same way as other churches. Video footage, which has been obtained by ICC, shows that the destruction was primarily against the Christian items and relics inside of the church. Crosses, pictures of Jesus, and rosaries were strewn across the path leading away from the mountain church's entrance. The village of Mer was primarily Chaldean Christian before surrounding conflict forced its evacuation in the early 90s. 11 years ago, the Dirrell couple had returned to the village despite the dangers in an attempt to rebuild the Christian presence. God bless them. They were the first to return and often celebrated their Mass at Marta Shimoni. The church, which is named after a local Christian martyred for her faith, so it's not out of the ordinary over there, stands as a historic reminder of the village's Christian past. Sadly, Simone Dirrell was found deceased on March 20th, 2020, just 2 months after her kidnapping. The fate, however, of her husband is unknown and the search continues. Although I will add, I don't know how strictly they're actually searching, because I remember reporting at the time that they were doing very little. Attorney Orhan Kemal Cengiz, potentially, shared with ICC, as the lawyer for the Dirrell family, my main concern for the time being is to get the prosecutor to open a case, haven't even opened a case, against the perpetrators in the abduction of the Dirrell couple, which ended with the murder of Mrs. Dirrell. Mr. Dirrell is still missing. I've delivered more than a dozen petitions to the prosecutor so far to urge him to look at the matter from different angles, as well as calling him to deliver his indictment as soon as possible. So let's just get this straight. I mean, they moved there some 11 years ago without scrolling back up the page. The lady, the wife of Mr. Dirrell, that's ridiculous, sorry, Mrs. Dirrell, was found deceased more than, so it's around, let me see the date, 14 months ago, say, for argument's sake, after already being missing for 2 months. So that's 16 months, one dead body, one missing person, presumed dead, I would imagine, and the prosecutor has to be delivered petitions, which they are still ignoring. It's unreal. Unfortunately, I have not had any positive result yet. I believe there is a strong correlation between the lack of indictment in this case and the recent attack against the chapel in the village in which the Dirrell couple went missing. The prosecutor's refusal to introduce an indictment against the perpetrators emboldens the perpetrators and the people behind them. That's quite a telling turn of phrase. He continues, I will urge the prosecutor to make a thorough investigation, good luck, mate, into the last attack on the church, as well as to look into possible links between this attack and the kidnapping of the Dirrell couple. It is obvious if the impunity in the case of the abduction and killing of the Dirrell couple continues, more attacks would follow. The disappearance of the Dirrell couple was mentioned both in the 2021 annual report of the United States Commission on International Religious Freedom and the more recently released 2020 report on international religious freedom from the US Department of State's Office of International Religious Freedom. I think that must be the other way around. The first one was 2021, the most recent. So an immediate family member of the Dirrell couple shared with ICC this quote: "First of all, I strongly condemn this heinous attack on our church. This attack does not fit into humanity or any belief. It is obvious that the people who did this are very uncomfortable with our presence on our lands and with our beliefs. That's because the truth hurts. This assault of our presence in the village is an indication that somebody is disturbed and they do not want us here. What worries us the most is that it is a continuation of the persecution of my parents in January last year. We even suspect it was linked to the murder and disappearance of my parents." Claire Evans, who is ICC's regional manager, says, "We are concerned about this desecration against Marta Shimoni and how this is part of a continued pattern of intimidation and threats against the Christian presence in Mer. Over a year has passed since the kidnapping of the Dirrell couple and murder. There has been no justice, and now their church is attacked. These cases are intertwined. If there is no accountability for these crimes, how can Christians with confidence return home?" That's a brilliant question. There will just be a massive silence on the side of the prosecutor. I mean, what are they doing? Just blatantly showing they couldn't give a top. They just don't care. Okay, next on to Pakistan. That bunch of lunatics, just nutters to a man, apart from the Christians there, it seems. So this is yesterday. According to the Union of Catholic Asian News, so that's UCAN, that's their acronym, a mob of more than, they're so brave, these people. A mob of more than 200 Muslims raided and terrorized 80 Christian families in a village in Pakistan. Local reports state the attack was sparked by a petty dispute between Christian youths cleaning a church and a Muslim landlord. I think, I may be wrong, I think I have footage of these people actually on my phone, because the person who sends me stuff from Pakistan sent it, but it's not in English again, but I believe it's this case. So on May 15th, a mob of 200 Muslims attacked the Christian community of Chak 5 village, located in the Okara district of Pakistan's Punjab province. The attack reportedly lasted for half an hour, and left 8 Christians seriously injured and 15 Christian homes ransacked. They were armed with glass bottles, stones, axes, batons, and bricks, as are all, highly critical theologians. Like, what? Said Mankta Masih. Others used stairs to climb to our roofs and started breaking our furniture. We pleaded to spare the women. But the attack continued for half an hour. They broke the locks, grabbed our hair, pulled us out one by one. A female survivor told UCAN. Young girls were assaulted and left with torn clothes. According to local church leadership, the attack was instigated by a petty dispute between Christian youths and a Muslim landlord. Father Khalid Mukhtar, parish priest of St. Thomas Catholic Church in Chak 5, reports that several Christian boys were cleaning the church when a Muslim landlord walked by and accused them of throwing dust on him. It is the same story, I'm pretty positive. It's just a shame I can't share my screen, because I can. Give me a minute, I'll give you a video of some of this. The weakness on the part of the administration encourages such attacks on religious minorities, Father Mukhtar told UCAN. The culprits are usually let off scot-free. Religion is used to settle personal scores. The locals fear another attack. On May 16th, Christians gathered at St. Thomas Catholic Church to collect statements and file a complaint with the local police. The Deputy Superintendent of Police visited the village on May 16th and assured locals that a complaint would be filed. And I've just realised that I'm using YouTube and not StreamYard, so I won't be sharing my screen. What I will be doing is I will make a community post with a link to the unlisted video, which will be on my channel. Okay, just please pray for Pakistan. It's just outrageous. And I know for an absolute fact that the Christians there kind of fall for the mainstream, like they believe that the West, well, actually, they're not wrong, but that the West is much more sympathetic to Muslims, even though we are Christian nations, and have just forsaken them and forgotten them. And that's really not the case, at least like over here. But yeah, please pray for them. Please, like, publicize the stories. Don't let anyone think for a second that this isn't going on, that people aren't being murdered, abducted, missing. Nobody cares. Nobody, prosecutes anybody. Similarly, in Nigeria, okay, they're just so blatant. They just don't care at all. Pakistan is awful for its corruption within its blasphemy laws. That's just an absolute joke. Well, it would be if there was a punchline. Okay, so finally, the last story that we've got here. Jihadists attack peacekeeping mission in the Democratic Republic of the Congo. I think that democratic is just like flung on at the beginning because it sounds good. I don't know. So this is also yesterday. 1 female peacekeeper and 5 villagers were all killed last week in an attack on the UN peacekeeping mission in Beni, Democratic Republic of the Congo. The attack was reportedly carried out by members of the Allied Democratic Forces, ADF, an affiliate of ISIS whose primary aim is to create, wait for it, an Islamic caliphate in Central Africa. They may have to get in the line behind Boko Haram and ISWAP and the Fulani. Anyway, according to Reuters, the UN peacekeeping mission in the DRC has deployed around 12,000 troops to contain violence by more than 120 armed groups in the east of the country. It is no joke over there. Let me just really hammer that home. African Christians, as which, some of whom we saw in the video that I uploaded, I think last night, it's just no joke in Africa for Christians. Okay. The largest of these groups is the ADF, who I just mentioned, which in March was designated as a foreign terrorist organization by the US and categorized as ISIS DRC, basically. So I would ask you, please, keep African Christians in your heart and in your prayers, because, that's 6 people just killed on a whim. There's a video coming out that I reported from the park on Sunday. More than 1,000 Nigerians slaughtered in a couple of months only, much more than 1,000. The numbers get so big that they don't mean anything anymore, if that makes any sense. I used to try to focus on individual cases. They have touched me the most, I know, just on a personal note, because it's much more easy to empathize with a single person or a single family's grief than with, 1,000. Oh my gosh, it's at least, just this is my rough estimation now, it must be coming up to 34,000 Nigerian Christians slaughtered, including raped, beheaded, dismembered, macheted, set on fire. That's without being captured into slavery. That's just the horrific murders in 10 years, like 34,000 Christian souls, each one of them our brothers and sisters. Like, it's no joke. It's just, I can normally find the humor in most things, and I sometimes do, don't get me wrong, when I hear the pathetic jihadi reasoning. But yeah, it's something's got to give. Something has to happen. Britain, at least, made a couple of noises and said that we would withhold foreign aid to Nigeria, which means that some Christians will suffer. But overall, I was very impressed with the fact that the British government cited the persecution and genocide of Christians as their reasoning. I've got one more for you from Nigeria because I just felt a bit of a Nigerian vibe coming on, as it were. So this is from 2 days ago. The poor pastors there. This is what, well, God started me off on, speaking about the persecuted church. But the very first case, not the visual, not the girl with the knife hanging out of her head, the little baby, but the first case that made me realise the scale of it, and this is whilst I was still praying for a focus, was that of a Nigerian pastor. He had been abducted. I have the video. I'll upload that as well with a note. And he was still praying for his persecutors. He was handing it over to God, literally, as it were. And he was still murdered. But it was just so brilliant that he remained so faithful. And it would skitted past me in one of my telephone messaging groups or something like this. So I just put it into a search engine, Nigerian pastor killed, thinking, well, surely it wasn't that long ago. And I got something like, I can't remember now, over 100,000 search results. And then I thought, wow, they must all be doubles and triples and, this can't be real. And yeah, it was. There were some obviously duplicated stories, but, it was a lot of Nigerian pastors. Now, on to this story that I have for you now. Pastor abducted whilst preaching in Nigeria. Morning Star News reports that pastor, oh my gosh, look at his name, bless him. Okay, right, I'm going to really try not to embarrass myself and offend any Nigerian viewers. Okay, here we go, please, Jesus. Right, Pastor Otamayomi Ogadengbi of Deeper Life Bible Church was abducted on Monday, May the 10th by suspected Fulani militants. And I'll just let you know at this juncture that Fulani militants are now the fourth most dangerous terrorist organisation globally. They've overtaken as well Boko Haram for the prize, fourth place spot. They're responsible for a lot of murder and a lot of mayhem and a lot of twaddle in terms of ideology. Okay, so according to the report, Pastor Ogadengbi was taken away at gunpoint whilst conducting a Bible study at his church. So in front of all his parishioners or, congregants who were there studying in Akure, Ondo State. The armed men, not just a man, men, of course, because they are cowards. The armed men shot their way into the church's building. Why wouldn't you? Why wouldn't you? Where the program was being held, and took him away with the gun pointed at his head. And this was reported to the Morning Star News by the pastor's wife. The gunman called Ogadengbi's family members 3 days later, demanding a 30 million naira, which for anybody who, like me, is unfamiliar with this currency, is $73,600. So again, that will be slightly less in sterling, and that's slightly less. It's a lot of money for his release. The herdsman, and this is another problem in Nigeria, I would say that whilst local authorities maintain that these ransoms are not paid, don't believe it for a second, because this is becoming some sort of cottage industry. It's outrageous. It's a difficult thing to decide, but once you pay a ransom, you're opening up the floodgates for other cretins to jump on board. And if it's anything to do with ideology, why are you extorting money out of people, you absolute freaks? Okay, anyway, the herdsman entered into the church's auditorium and went straight to Pastor Ogadengbi, who was preaching from the altar. They couldn't get any more disrespectful if they tried. A church member reported that to the Morning Star News and then said this: they ordered us to lie on the floor whilst they took away our pastor. What can I say? I just don't know what can I say. Please please, if you just do one thing, please pray for Nigerian Christians. Nigeria is number one. It may only be within the, it's not number one overall in the top 50 countries for persecution. However, it is the number one spot for most likely to be killed for loving Jesus Christ and telling anyone about it. So, it's testimony to Christ that people hate him that much, that just loving him means that you're up for this kind of just disgusting treatment. But they are, Pakistan comes in like quite closely in terms of likely to be extremely persecuted, potentially killed, but that's kind of corrupted in a sense because they're being accused of blasphemy. They're being accused of this and accused of that. Whereas in Nigeria, there is no accusation. It's just a given. You're a Christian. You deserve to die. And your church is of no more importance than, basically a latrine. Right, I've got that off my chest a little bit. I feel a bit better now, actually. Yeah, I'm sure they don't, though. The family of that pastor, it's, it's horrific enough for anybody to be missing. But to then add that to the fact that for a certainty they are with gunmen. They are with people who value their life at zero. Well, actually, no, they value it at $73,600. But you know what I mean. They're more than happy to slash throats, shoot people, dismember them, set them on fire, that kind of thing. All the fruits of the spirit of extremist Islam, it seems. Okay, so I can see the live chat. I know everyone's going to go very quiet now that I've mentioned that. Thanks for caring enough to listen to this persecution news. I know it's not pleasant. I know some of the stuff that I've uploaded recently is a little bit disturbing. It can make you feel a bit nauseous. But know this, that if we didn't feel anything about it, there would be something wrong with us, because it is gut-wrenching and it is horrific and it is distressing. However, that is just the work of the flesh. The work of the spirit is that we know that God is sovereign over all of this. God can and will pour out the Holy Spirit onto Nigeria. Please, God, do that soon. And, call me uncharitable, but if some of these Fulani militants are convicted of their sin so severely that it becomes physically uncomfortable or even painful for them, who am I to speak against that, when they're being such charmers? Okay, so I have a premiere coming soon. As soon as this video renders, it's taking ages and ages, but it will be this evening. So I hope to see you there. Also, I have another premiere, but I'm not sure if that will be ready by then. That's irrelevant to the plight of persecuted Christians, but I thought I'd throw it out there to try and lighten the mood. Meh. Okay, please pray for them. Like, it takes seconds. I know, and don't think to yourself, God already knows my heart, so I don't actually have to verbalize it, because of free will and all of that conundrum. We actually need to ask God, a conscious effort to ask him for what we need. And if we ask in Jesus' name, it will be given. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. All right, then. God bless you, and I will see you very soon. Yeah, don't have nightmares. Know that Jesus is Lord. He is God, and he has got this in hand. All right, God bless you. See you later.